birthday, George W. Bush, 43rd President of these United States. Welcome, one and all, to the K.O.E. Nation page for our Presidential Toast Series, where we go through and we toast every single U.S. president. So, we have arrived at the birthday of one George W. Bush, 43rd President. Strangely enough, George W. Bush no longer drinks. He quit drinking a very, very long time ago. One of my primary sources, Mint Juleps of Teddy Roosevelt, The Complete History of Presidential Drinking by Mark Will Weber. Really good read. I recommend it. The only thing that I could derive as any kind of brand or any kind of preferred alcohol was a confrontation between George W. Bush's wife and Bush himself. Laura Bush and George Bush had a confrontation where she said, it's either the bourbon or me. Or she didn't say it exactly like that, but she put it in that kind of a way. So, as much as I can tell, at one point or another, our 43rd president enjoyed him some bourbon. Nowadays, he doesn't do that, and he takes mostly to painting, but that's neither here nor there. So, Maker's Mark Store Pick. This is from the Still in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Right.
So you can only get this at the Still in
Excellent.
the Lincoln. So shout out to the Still. God knows we've got plenty of stuff on our shelves thanks to them. I will reuse that at another time. All right. Maker's Mark Store Pick. The oak finishing staves, baked American Pure No. 2, seared French Cuvée, Maker's 46, roasted French mocha, and toasted French spice. So,
this sounds really good.
yeah, this sounds, this was a little bit more expensive bottle than normal.
Sure.
Store picks generally are. I'm looking forward to this.
I'm interested.
Thanks for including me.
Yeah, no problem, sir. All right.
Perfect.
Maker's Mark Bourbon. Store pick. First time I've ever had such a thing. All right, folks. Let's see how it hits the nose.
Wow.
There's some ethanol there, but
Yeah, there is. But that is a sweet,
But not strong.
floral.
very sweet bourbon smell.
54.6 ABV.
All right.
109.2 proof. So that's why I'm getting a pretty heavy ethanol smell in there, despite a very sweet nose.
Yeah, very sweet.
Might make hand sanitizer.
Be an awful waste of some good
I was
booze.
going to say,
No,
let's sample it before we start using it to sanitize.
Down the hatch, folks. See how it hits the palate.
Not most things over 100.
Wow.
That's sweet.
I was about to say.
Oh, that finish.
That
That is a refreshing finish.
It doesn't burn. It doesn't
I
burn.
have a little burn, but not much.
Very subtle, if anything.
Like if you were going to compare it to the Bookers we got over there.
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
comparable in its ABV.
Comparable.
This is way smoother.
I agree. This is very subtle. The initial flavor is very nice. Very sweet, mellow bourbon flavor. Then if you hold it in your mouth, you get a bit of that tingle. But the
spice and cinnamon.
Yeah, but the finish, very refreshing for a bourbon. I got to say, that's probably the most gasping of clean air I've had on a bourbon.
Yeah. You like your scotches and Irish whiskeys with a bit of a minty end. So this is perfect for you.
Yeah. Oh, the finish. I'm loving the finish. On
so, Jermz, what are your initial thoughts before we get into scoring?
I mean, like I said, anything over 100 proof or 100% or 100 proof, 50 plus percent. Normally burns like mother, and this is, you can still taste the sweet in it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this still has that bourbon sweet while still having a really high,
Bourbon should try to be like that. That's what bourbon should be like.
Maker's Mark Private Select. Folks, if you're out there and you're having a hard time getting your hands on any of those boutique bourbons that are really high dollar, I think a maker's store pick might serve you quite well.
I was just say, any lovers of bourbon,
Yeah.
This one might be one you want to seek out. Anybody who's making a road trip for specific types of bourbon. This is one I would highly recommend to do so. I'm very impressed.
If you're anywhere in Lincoln, Nebraska, stop by the still. They got this right up front of the store. This is good stuff. Okay, guys.
Wow.
We are going to start the grading. It's going to be 4 scales.
Okay.
As a bourbon, as a whiskey, as a brown spirit, and
Shelving.
Of
course.
So, as a bourbon, 1 to 5 stars.
As a bourbon, I'm giving this a 4.25.
4.25.
I really like this.
I'll go 4 or 5.
4.5, 4.5 as a bourbon. I have to give this 4 stars. I can't. It is that great.
Yeah.
As a whiskey, putting this up against all the scotches, putting it up against all the Irish whiskeys, all the Canadian whiskeys, all of the other bourbons, American whiskeys, what have you, Japanese whiskey.
3.75.
3.75. Jermz.
Let's go 4 point.
4 stars as a whiskey. This is one I think Jermz is impressed by. As a whiskey, I'm gonna have to agree. 4 stars. It is that good. It is just an amazingly good whiskey. As a brown spirit,
it's a bourbon, so I wouldn't be as stubborn to cocktail it, because this is one that I think would cocktail very nicely. And I think that helps it a lot on my scale, and I'm going to give this a 3.75.
Damn. The fact that it broke your 3.5 star barrier shows Tony likes this stuff. As a brown spirit, sir, this is putting it up against all the cognacs, brandies, rums, some of the reposado tequilas. I mean, any kind of brown spirit.
4.0.
4.
He's 4.
He's pretty much, to Jermz, this is 4 stars almost all the way through. Didn't you give it 4.5 on the bourbon?
Yeah.
All right, so, wow. Now, before we get into shelving, let me ask you something, Jermz. Is this a bottle you might seek out for yourself?
I'm going to Lincoln tomorrow.
Okay. All right.
There you have it.
Tony, would this be a bottle you would add to your collection?
I don't buy a lot of bourbon unless I have reason to, and this one would give me a reason to. I really like this specific entry on the Makers series.
Yeah,
it's very nice. Yeah, I would definitely pick a bottle of this up.
As a brown spirit, 4.25. I could do a lot with this in terms of cocktail.
Man, that's
in terms
impressive.
I could do a shocking amount of cocktails of this, and they would all be wonderful because it's got that sweet floral.
Oh, yeah.
And it's high ABV, makes it deceptive, so everyone's going to be having a really good time really quick. Yep. So, now, do we even need to bring up shelving?
I don't think so.
Tony's the only one that is kind of a stubborn curmudgeon here.
Just because my bar doesn't have shelves.
Yeah.
It's either yes or no.
I wouldn't feel good putting this on my middle shelf, but I also don't know about my top. Like, since it's such a specific item, if you've got somewhere you put special items or, like you said, store picks, that's where I would put this. Because it's not a middle shelf for me, but it's not quite a top shelf either. It's kind of unique. So I would put it on an island by itself with other mythical beings, if you will, of the spirit nature.
It would go into your whiskey vault.
There you go. I think that's a good place for it.
Banner behind it.
Yeah, there you have it.
I have
this one. Like you said, Tony, this is kind of hard to quantify because if you had just a bourbon rack, this is top shelf on your
yeah. Absolutely.
If you can't get your hands on any kind of like Pappies or any of that kind of crazy overpriced stuff, this is some really good bourbon. In terms of against all the stuff I have, it would have to sit on my middle shelf. Like you're right, it almost doesn't deserve to be there.
It doesn't.
But there's so many good things on the top shelf that it makes it very hard. So it would be a top shelf standalone bourbon. It's going to go in my middle shelf. So
all right,
that is our take on.
I've still got some left.
Whoa, that's a rare. This has been our take on this very, very special Maker's Mark bourbon that we decided to pull out for the birthday of one George W. Bush, 43rd President of the United... Who the fuck are you?
Rami. Just cut in the sign off. Be simple enough. Just remember it's there.
Bush. So...
Or maybe redo the sign off.
Hard.
Hello? Hey, we are at my place filming. What's up?
If it helps, my shit's on silent.
All right. See you in a bit. Bye. Bush. George W. Bush. No, all right.
All right.
All right. We'll
yeah, just re-record the sign.
I'm still empty.
Yeah, I'm just hiding it.
So, folks, this has been our review of this very interesting bourbon that we decided to pull out for the birthday of the 43rd President of the United States, one George W. Bush. Thank you, Tony. That was we needed that. I remember he used to do this on the campaign trail. W. That was his big, because you got to have a hand signal. That's important. So, well, George W., for all the better and for all the worse, you were the President of our United States. And for that, on your birthday, we raise our glass to you. Happy birthday, Mr. President.